Welcome to this comprehensive training module on electrocardiography, specifically focusing on ECG leads and recordings. As we delve into the world of cardiac monitoring, it is essential to understand that an ECG is more than just a series of lines on paper. It is a sophisticated spatial map of the heart's electrical activity. In this session, we will break down the fundamental components of ECG leads, how they are recorded, and how to interpret the resulting waveforms in a clinical context. To begin, we must clarify a common point of confusion: the difference between an electrode and a lead. An electrode is a physical piece of hardware, specifically, a conductive pad that we attach directly to the patient's skin. Its primary function is to enable the recording of the heart's tiny electrical currents by bridging the gap between the body and the ECG machine. A lead, on the other hand, is not a physical wire but a mathematical and graphical viewpoint. It is the graphical description of the current flow between two specific electrodes, or a group of electrodes, as they relate to the electrical flow occurring within the heart muscle itself. You can think of leads as different cameras positioned around a stadium. While every lead is analyzing the exact same electrical event in the cardiac cycle simultaneously, they are each viewing it from a unique angle, providing a multidimensional perspective of the heart's health. In standard clinical practice, we obtain a full 12-lead ECG, but interestingly, this does not require 12 wires. Instead, we derive these 12 distinct views using only 10 electrodes placed on the body. These 12 leads are categorized into 3 specific groups based on their location and how they are calculated. First, we have the 3 standard limb leads, often referred to as the bipolar leads. These are followed by the 3 augmented limb leads, which provide additional perspectives from the limbs. Finally, we have the 6 chest leads, also known as precordial leads, which are placed directly across the torso to view the heart from the front and side. Understanding how current flows is vital for EKG interpretation. The fundamental rule is that electrical current in an EKG lead is always viewed as moving from a negative electrode toward a positive electrode. When we look at bipolar limb leads, the machine measures the flow of current between 2 specific limb electrodes where one is designated as positive and the other as negative, hence the term bipolar. In contrast, we have unipolar leads, which include the augmented leads and the chest leads. Augmented leads are mathematically derived from the existing limb electrodes to create extra viewpoints. For the chest leads, since they are unipolar, they require a reference point to act as a negative pole. This reference is called Wilson's central terminal, which is considered a 0 point, or center of electrical activity, allowing each chest electrode to act as its own independent positive pole. To successfully record an ECG, the physical placement of the 10 electrodes must be precise. The diagram on your screen illustrates the standard chest electrode positions. V1 is placed in the 4th intercostal space, just to the right of the sternum, while V2 is in the 4th intercostal space immediately to the left of the sternum. V4 is positioned in the 5th intercostal space at the midclavicular line, and V3 is placed midway between V2 and V4. Moving laterally, V5 is at the same horizontal level as V4 but on the anterior axillary line, and V6 is at the same level on the mid-axillary line. For the limbs, we use 4 electrodes: right arm RA, left arm LA, left leg LL or F, and right leg RL or N. Note that the right leg electrode, often colored black, serves as the ground or reference electrode and does not directly contribute to the 12 leads themselves. The bipolar limb leads are the foundation of the EKG. These leads are formed by measuring the electrical potential difference between electrodes placed on the limbs. As mentioned, the right leg electrode is our ground. The relationship between the other 3 limb electrodes, right arm, and left leg, forms what is known as Enthoven's triangle, which surrounds the heart in the frontal plane. Let's look at the specific polarity and direction of these bipolar leads. Lead I is created using the right arm as the negative pole and the left arm as the positive pole, meaning the current flow is tracked from RA to LA. Lead 2 uses the right arm as negative and the left leg as positive, with current flowing from the right arm down toward the left leg. Finally, lead 3 is formed by using the left arm as the negative pole and the left leg as the positive pole, resulting in current flow from the LA to the LL. The augmented limb leads, also known as Goldberger's leads, are unique because they are not physical leads in the same way the bipolar leads are. Instead, the EKG machine uses mathematical formulas based on the existing limb electrodes to create these views. These are unipolar leads. They record and then electronically augment or amplify the voltage at one specific limb location. This is done by using the average of the other two limb leads as a collective zero or negative reference point. Specifically, lead AVR uses the average of the left arm and left leg as its reference point, with the right arm acting as the positive pole. Lead AVL uses the average of the right arm and left leg as the reference, with the left arm as the positive pole. Lastly, lead AVF, where the F stands for foot, uses the average of both arms, RA and LA, as the reference, with the left foot or leg acting as the positive pole. When we combine the 3 bipolar leads and the 3 augmented leads, we get a full 360-degree view of the heart's electrical activity in the frontal plane. These leads are essential because the augmented leads provide coverage of gaps or areas of the heart that the standard limb leads might not see clearly. Together, they allow us to determine the heart's electrical axis and detect issues like inferior or lateral wall damage. While limb leads look at the heart from the front, the frontal plane, the chest leads or precordial leads look at the heart in the horizontal plane. These are unipolar leads that use Wilson's central terminal, WCT, as their reference point. WCT is a theoretical zero potential point created by electronically connecting the 3 limb electrodes, RA, LA, and LL. This point is located at the very center of Enthoven's triangle, allowing each chest lead to record electrical activity as it moves toward the surface of the torso. Each chest lead is responsible for monitoring a specific region of the heart muscle. Leads V1 and V2 primarily look at the septal area, or the wall dividing the two ventricles. Leads V3 and V4 are positioned to view the anterior wall of the heart. Finally, leads V5 and V6 provide a view of the anterolateral wall, capturing the left side of the heart as it wraps around toward the back. To recap, our 12-lead view is built from 3 sources: the bipolar limb leads 1, 2, 3, the unipolar augmented leads, AVR, AVL, AVF, and the unipolar chest leads V1 through V6. The limb and augmented leads provide the frontal view, while the chest leads provide the horizontal view. When you look at a standard 12-lead EKG printout, the leads are organized to help clinicians quickly identify the location of an issue. Leads 2, 3, and AVF are grouped as inferior leads. Leads I, AVL, V5, and V6 are the lateral leads. V1 and V2 are labeled septal, and V3 and V4 are anterior. This layout allows for an immediate mental reconstruction of where in the heart muscle an abnormality might be occurring. Understanding which artery supplies which part of the heart is critical for diagnosing heart attacks. Leads V1 and V2 septal are supplied by the left anterior descending LAD artery. Leads V3 and V4, anterior, also rely on the LAD and sometimes the right coronary artery, RCA. The lateral leads, I, AVL, V5, V6, are usually supplied by the circumflex artery. Finally, the inferior leads 2, 3, AVF, are primarily supplied by the right coronary artery. Now that we understand the cameras, the leads, we must look at what they are recording: the current flow in the heart. This involves the heart's specialized conducting system and 2 primary electrical states: depolarization, which triggers muscle contraction, and repolarization, which allows the muscle to recover and relax. The heart's electrical impulse follows a very specific pathway. It begins at the sinoatrial as a node, travels to the atrioventricular a node, moves through the bundle of His, splits into the right and left bundle branches, and finally spreads through the Purkinje fibers to stimulate the ventricles. Depolarization is the process where electrical stimulation spreads throughout the heart, along its conducting pathways. This electrical change causes the heart muscle fibers to contract. Repolarization is the recovery phase. It is when the cardiac muscle returns to its original electrical state, leading to the relaxation of the muscle and preparing it for the next beat. As we've seen, depolarization must follow the established highway of the SA node, AV node, bundle of His and Purkinje fibers. Any block or delay in this specific sequence will be reflected as an abnormality on the EKG. The direction of this electrical flow is also predictable. It generally moves from the top right SA node toward the bottom left of the heart. This resultant vector is what each lead is comparing itself against to produce a positive or negative wave on the paper. A key physiological rule is that the timing of these events differs between chambers. The atria are the first to depolarize, but they are actually the last to repolarize. Conversely, the ventricles are the last to receive the depolarization signal, but they begin their repolarization process much sooner in relative terms. These electrical events are translated into 3 distinct waves on the EKG tracing. We use a unique labeling system, P, QRS, and T, to identify which part of the heart is active at any given millisecond. Specifically, the P wave represents the depolarization of the atrial myocardium. The QRS complex, which is much larger, represents the depolarization of the ventricular myocardium. Finally, the T wave represents the repolarization of the ventricular myocardium. Note that atrial repolarization is usually hidden behind the large QRS complex. How do these events look on paper? We follow 3 principles. If the heart's current is moving parallel toward a lead's positive electrode, we see a positive upward deflection. If it moves in the opposite direction, we see a negative downward deflection. If the current is moving perpendicular to the lead, the result is a biphasic wave, meaning it goes both up and down. Let's apply this. In lead 2, the lead's current flows from the right arm to the left leg. When the atria depolarize from the SA node toward the AV node, that current is parallel to lead 2, so the P wave is positive. However, in lead AVR, the positive pole is the right arm. Since atrial current is moving away from the right arm, the P wave in AVR will be negative or inverted. This is a normal, expected finding in a healthy heart.